With the success of The Karate Kid in 1984, director John G. Avildsen started a franchise. The next installment would be released 2 years later. It starts off immediately after the events of the first film. Daniel has won the tournament and the honor of Johnny and his cohorts. Unfortunately, he didn't earn the honor of the Cobra Kai sensei, John Kreese. Frustrated over Johnny's second place trophy, he breaks it and starts strangling him. He gets stopped by Mr. Miyagi, who honks his nose and knocks him out instead of killing him. His reason? For a person with no forgiveness in heart, living even worse punishment than death. I love this quote because there's a lot of truth to it. Why live unforgiving when you can die humble? The reason the film opens that way is because that scene would have been how the first film ended, but it wasn't shot until the sequel started production. After that opening scene, the plot begins for real after a 6-month gap from the tournament. Miyagi receives a letter from his ill father back in his home of Okinawa. He and Daniel travel there, and following the death of Miyagi's father, the old sage now has to take it upon himself to make amends with his former friend turned rival named Sato. This rivalry was over the fact that in his younger years, Miyagi fell in love with a woman named Yuki, who was arranged to marry Sato. Upon that discovery, Sato challenged Miyagi to a fight to the death, but Miyagi left his country, and Sato still holds his grudge because there is no time limit for a man's honor. No, I have high doubts the grudge should last that long. What kind of disadvantage came into place for Miyagi to refuse? At the very least, Miyagi's not getting his hands on the girl. You thought that was low for the villains? At many moments in the film, even when they first arrive, Daniel is already receiving threats from Sato and his nephew Chosen just for accompanying Miyagi. No joke about it, Daniel getting attacked all those times in the film came completely undeserved. I mean, come on you guys, Miyagi's your problem, not the teenage karate champ that tagged along. Miyagi didn't ask to bring Daniel for the ride, he only brought him because Daniel wanted to go. I guess part of the reason could be Daniel's discovery of Chosen's corruption, but I don't think that should cause a major ruckus since his freaking uncle is screwing up the village anyway, since he owns the land title and forces everyone there to rent property from him, as well as polluting the water to destroy the fishing business. Okay, I already started talking crap about the film, but really, the villains and their motives are the only major problems. It gets a lot of other elements right. It actually feels like a continuation of the story rather than a rehash of its predecessor. They actually tried to make a good movie, and they were successful in that. They weren't exactly successful in making a better film than the first, but it still got good value in its new location and new characters. I used to refer to this as an unnecessary sequel, but I don't anymore for 2 reasons. One, like with Rocky II, which I also used to think was unnecessary, the first film was meant to begin the story, and the second film continued it and attempted to give it a more satisfying chapter, even if it's not the better film overall. Number 2, if Karate Kid didn't spawn a franchise, we wouldn't have the epic series Cobra Kai. It's great to see that it's got a 3rd season available on Netflix now. The bond between Daniel and Miyagi is still as strong as ever, and we get to learn more about the 2 characters. It also attempts a new relationship between Daniel and Kumiko, who is Yuki's niece. No, we didn't forget about Allie from the last film. It is revealed early on that she left Daniel for a UCLA football player during the senior prom. Now that's a great way to start the summer, isn't it? But don't worry, he gets over it pretty quick and it's never mentioned again for the rest of the movie. Daniel's kind of like Indiana Jones in a way, constantly shifting who to give smooches to. Even if its reception was a little mixed and not as good as its predecessor, the film was another box office hit and allowed for 2 more sequels, both of which were terrible. There was also a remake in 2010 starring Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan, which I'm hoping to check out sometime soon. Of course, there's also the web series Cobra Kai. The first 2 seasons were epic, so I can't wait to see what the whole 3rd season has to offer. Overall, the second film is not exactly what I consider an entirely necessary sequel, but I can see the purpose it holds and I can appreciate it for its attempts, even if it's not as good as the first film. It's a decent film and I recommend you check it out.